For libertyandeconomics.com and the Liberty and Economics Review, I'm Nick Sorrentino. So today I want to talk about the petrodollar. As we watch the price of gasoline continue to go up, um, one has to ask why. Well, some people argue that, well, it's Goldman Sachs at their, you know, engaging in their games again, speculating, uh, whatever that term is supposed to mean. And other people say, oh, well, it's fundamental demand, which it, frankly is, I would argue, a load of BS. I don't believe that there's fundamental demand underneath this rise in oil prices. What I do believe is that um, we're seeing the petrodollar shudder again, as it did in the summer of 2008, just before we went into this recession. Essentially, the petrodollar is a lot of people don't know this, but in order to buy and sell oil on the world market, you need to buy and sell it in dollars. Dollars only. Can't do it in euros, can't do it in yen, and so on. This gives us a lot of power. You can only buy and sell it in two places in economically meaningful amounts, and that is in London and in New York. Um, Now, if we have a central bank in the Federal Reserve that can print fiat currency forever, at will, and oil is only bought and sold in this currency that our central bank creates at will. Um, it creates all kinds of weird things. The natural ebb and flow of supply and demand does not necessarily always hold uh, in the petrodollar regime. Um, Now, what's interesting is I'm of the theory that basically I subscribe to the theory that what you see in the rise in the price of oil is, in fact, largely a decline in the value of the dollar. Generally speaking, now this does not hold true not 100% of the time, but a very good percentage of the time. The price of oil and the value of the dollar essentially move, you know, like this. They correlate quite nicely. When the value of the dollar goes down, the price of oil, the price, quote, price of oil goes up. And in 2008, even the president of OPEC said as much. Oil goes down by $4, and that's roughly equivalent to 1% in the U.S. dollar. Anyway, okay. So there's a lot of stuff there. I would encourage, if you want to learn more about the petrodollar, I would encourage you to read Petrodollar Warfare, which is um, a fairly kind of fringy conspiratorial book, but it's worth a read. It's very interesting, and basically the guy outlines his theory for why the war in Iraq happened, and it was because of the petrodollar. But I won't go into that right now. Um, but I do. I want to leave you with the thought that, okay, so if the dollar weakens, how do you weaken the dollar? Well, you continue to print dollars, like the Federal Reserve is doing. And so, what does that mean? Well, the price of gasoline is going to go up for everyday folks, which means there's going to be more of a crimp in their lifestyle in this already hard time. And any recovery that supposedly we're seeing could be killed um, if you subscribe to the theory that there is a recovery. Um, Now, what would make sense is for the Federal Reserve to stop printing money, to rein things in, to strengthen the dollar, and then the price of oil would go down. But they're not going to do that. What massive amounts of fiat money allow essentially the central bank, Federal Reserve, to paper over a lot of the increasingly enormous cracks in the banking system in this country, and they don't want a strong dollar. So when you're filling up your car with $5 gas, just remember that you've got Mr. Bernanke to thank for that. It's not Goldman Sachs, although those guys are bastards. Um, it's not the Iranians. It's our central bank, who have basically moved to support the infrastructure of our really kind of anti-market banking system now, and left you to hang in the wind. So Uh, uh, pick up a stick of beef jerky when you're at the gas station because that's all you're going to be eating. Until next time.